speaker of the session, Mr. Jose Dominic, Managing Director of CGH Earth. Let's also invite him with a big round of applause. Welcome all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, before inviting our moderator to give opening remarks, may I quickly introduce her. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Parveen Hafiz. She is Charter Member of TIE and Managing Director of Sunrise Hospital. She started her entrepreneurship career in the year 1996. Today, she is running one of the best non-multi-speciality hospitals in Kerala, having built it by solid management techniques in the capacity as its Managing Director of Sunrise Hospital at Kakanad, Kochi, and having branches at Dubai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kerala, etc. The Sunrise Hospital Group has state-of-the-art facilities and equipment with all super specialty departments catering to meet patients' needs under one roof. She began her business career with the Medlace group of companies, which included Medlace Disposables, and Concern India. Ms. Parveen Hafiz currently heads the Finance Department and Administration, a key role within well-diversified organization of Sunrise. Ms. Parveen Hafiz is also the managing partner of Eyewear Solution, a software development company. She has often been featured in magazines and newspapers and have won many awards and titles. She was selected as one of the 3 business women from India in 2013 by the Fortune 500 companies and US government. Ms. Parveen Hafiz won the Lions Woman Icon Award 2011 and was selected for Best Woman Entrepreneurship 2013 by Dhanam Group. She also won Business Icon of the Year 2015 by Accent 2K15. Ladies and gentlemen, and now with a round of applause, let's welcome Ms. Parveen Hafiz, our moderator of the session, to give her opening remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Right after lunch. Hopefully no one's going to sleep because we have a fantastic array of speakers. Respected dignitary on the dais, off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 exciting hours in front of us as we have 7 distinguished speakers who will be speaking on a fantastic theme, new waves in tourism, the innovative and disruptive way. Tourism, I think it's high time we all know where exactly our state or our country is at the moment. We definitely need innovative and disruptive ways to bring a huge positive transition in tourism. And as the the MC had given us a list of speakers, I'm sure they will take us into depth of how each one of us or the society and the government would be able to bring a drastic step, which in tourism, which in retrospect will help all of us in our perspective businesses. I do not want to take too much of time because each one will be speaking on a different level. I invite all the speakers and all the delegates to this wonderful session for 2 hours, and I wish you happy listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the opening remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce our first speaker, Mr. Jose Dominic, past president and charter member of TIE Kerala. I know there is no need to introduce him, but still, may I quickly give you a small introduction about Mr. Jose Dominic. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Jose Dominic, a chartered accountant by qualification, joined his father's business in 1978 as Casino Hotel, Cochin, leaving the accounting firm Messrs. F. Ferguson and a company in Mumbai. He took over the reins of the enterprise, which grew into a group of hotels, which came to be known as Casino Group of Hotels. The group rechristened itself as CGH Earth in 2004, giving a clear definition of experiential holiday to its business and also adopting a strongly implementing core values of environment sensitivity, local community inclusion, and adaptation of the local cultural ethos. Sri Jose Dominic has served on several national and state advisory panels on tourism of the government and industry bodies. He is the founder, president of Kerala Travel Mart and founder, member of the Eco-Tourism Society of India. He is a past president of Thai Kerala chapter and was the president of the Cochin Chamber of Commerce. He is the immediate past chairman of CII, Kerala region, and presently member of National Tourism Advisory Council. Now let's invite Mr. Jose Dominic to give his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. Chair for our panel, Parveen, fellow panelists, ladies, gentlemen, my being here is the first disruption. Normally, this opening chapter is conducted by usually the Secretary of Tourism, representing government policy. So I think TAI has decided that private entrepreneurship is required to drive an enterprise. So significantly, that's a big change that they've done, and I'm here in that capacity. I will just, of course, touch upon what Kamal Vardhan Rao would have spoken had he been here. Let me just say, since time is short, I'm just going to put my conclusion again first. What is disruption or new way? What is a disruption? What's enterprise? So from an entrepreneurial point of view, I just put it down in 2 lines to say, it is do not create products for the market. Then what? But instead create a market for your product. And that's putting the thing into context. And so Kerala was really in the Indian horizon. Tourism came to India post-independence as a dividend of peace since the war was over, and technology, the wide-body jet came in, and people began to travel as never before in human history. In India, it was the Golden Triangle which was the first tourism movement. And then Goa was discovered. People did not know whether Goa was India, but it was some corner, some coast. People chartered in and chartered out and had a big party and went. Kerala celebrates its 25th year in 2016, just 25 years into a venture in tourism. What did Kerala do? Kerala did what it could, which was offered. It's everyday, it's ordinary. It's ordinary is the extraordinary. So, as a matter of fact, if you look at the Golden Triangle, forts, palaces, and the Indian rope trick. Goa, of course, sun, sand, surf. What is Kerala? It's village. It's Natimbaram. And in short, Keralathinte Thanima was all that we offered. And that had to be the driver. And a time of history when I remember several ministers in tourism, when they were given the portfolio of tourism in a left or left of left government that we have, alternatively, they thought it was a big embarrassment to hold this post. Why? Tourism was considered to be luxury, bourgeois, capitalist, and so on. All that has changed. And today, the party most powerful, the bureaucrat most influential comes into this sector. So that's a big change that has come about. And today, just to sum it up, for Kerala, tourism contributes, and the importance of tourism contributes about 10% of our GDP. 9.5% of our gross value added comes from tourism, making it perhaps the biggest sector, the economic sector. And more importantly, 1 in 4 jobs is created by tourism. and the importance of that. Coming back to the new wave that we are now trying to explore, trying to divide. And I think all the time, the big changes that are being happening in every sector, in tourism in particular. I think the biggest hotelier in the world today is somebody who does not own a single room, or your rooms. Or the biggest transporter is somebody called, who came the other day, Uber. So disruptors are ruling the roost. So that's a great leveler. You don't need to have huge capital. You don't need to have the old factors of production, of labor and land and capital are no longer important, are no longer the drivers. It is just ideas and which drive. So to create from new ideas, to create products and not to fill a market, but to find a market for that product. I just give you one example. I'm just trying to see, because in a short time from our own, sometime in 2004 was the time when we changed our name from the introduction from Casino Group of Hotels to CGHR for various reasons. I don't go into that. And the Tambarati of Kollangod gave me a call and said, do you think you people can make our palace into a hotel? I said, yes, palaces into hotels are done thing. Rajasthan has shown how successful it can be. Then she said, not a condition, but a concern. In our palace, never has meat been eaten before, ever before. And in our palace, never has wine been drunk ever before. And in 1928, when Lord Wellington visited, my great-grandfather told the Viceroy that never has anyone entered into our palace wearing leather shoes, and the Viceroy promptly removed the shoes and entered. So the question was, can you make this hotel into one without shoes, wine or meat? So I think that actually drove us into creating something completely new. We were completely unaware of. We said, let's then make it a palace for Ayurveda, which required all these things. And we were hoteliers, we knew how to serve beer and a steak, never know about Ayurveda. But anyway, we went ahead. All that we thought we did was, well, we'll get the best minds into this and follow it as authentically as possible, without compromise at all. And so, listening to them, we forgot about commercial considerations. We just said we'll make the best Ayurveda place we ever can. And so they said that you must have it must be 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks, Panchakarma, without all these and more, without tea, coffee and all that, leave your world behind. And in the first year, our occupancy was about 6%. And our friends, my board, everybody said, what have you done? This is a colossal disaster. And our trade partners said, just add a piece of fish, maybe a glass of wine, make it 3 days, and we'll fill up the place. Powerful temptation which came in. But anyway, we thought we'll hang on to this and bid one more year, and then our occupancy doubled. And from doubling means from 6% it went 12%. Still, break-even was far not within reach. And it really sent the shivers to us that here is a project which we maybe finally have met our Waterloo. But hung on. Today, I think that is that's a product which, for us, it has become our most, I believe, if you measure success in yield and profitability and booked out, and that's a product which has been completely booked out. So, in the case, I think for Kerala, our sense of place, our culture, all of that will create what we have to do. I think it cannot be creating alien experiences. Our solutions lie within the soil, within the community. The knowledge is there. We just have to pluck it out. And that's been our experience completely. Let's see, for CGH Earth, where we just drew, the word Earth was to hold our core values of environment, community, and local as our core values. And when we put CGH, people would have, initially it was meant to be Casino Group of Hotels, but today if you ask me, it went clean, green, healthy. Proceeding on this strength, it constantly gives us the energy and the direction that we should follow. And I think for the new wave and for disruption and constantly and particularly in tourism especially, people get the attention strength, length for an experience is very, very short. Constant innovation is required, and to break out, to innovate, to pioneer, and Kerala has particularly been very powerful. And I'll just give one more example, is in 1992 was, I believe, and he's no more, Mr. Babu Varghese. He built the first houseboat. And this was Kettuvallam, rice barges of the time. All of them were on shore and lying idle. And Babu had this idea to make this into a houseboat. So he built the first one, and then he called me to near Kollam. He said, "What do you think of it? Do you think it will work?" I said, "It looks fantastic. Anyway, you got your first one. The next one, can you please build one for me?" So he built the second boat for us, and in 1992 there were 2 boats in the backwaters. Today there are 1,800 houseboats. So that too, in a sense, in the backwaters itself, is now considered as Kerala's prime attraction. As late as 1993, the only thing people did on the backwaters was got on a boat from Changanasheri and went to Alleppey, or from Kottayam went to Alleppey and saw the backwater. There was not a single hotel. So in 1993, in somewhere, this was the time and had I had a little more time, I would have explained the sequence differently. But this was the time when the Gulf boom was flowing out. Money was coming in to Kerala, the petrodollars, and people who made money, what did they want to do? First and foremost was to knock off their old Tharawad houses and build concrete mosaic houses. And they were being sold for a song. Houses, in fact, EMS's mother's family sold their illam for, I won't mention the price, but for a ridiculously low price. This could be picked up, so that disassembled there, brought it here and reassembled it, and Coconut Lagoon was the first hotel on the backwaters, having just a collection of old houses which were demolished. And in 1994, and this was, I think, in a way, these are the accidents of history. 1994 was the year of the Surat plague. India became non-visitable. Tourism was zero. 1994, India discovered India. The Gujarati came to the backwaters, and he went into a hotel in a boat and looked at houses and buildings he had never seen before. In just a very short while, probably in 12 months' time, the backwaters were on fire. And no Gujarati girl could get married unless a dowry was offered of a honeymoon in Coconut Lagoon. As my time is up, so I'm just saying disruptions, create product, and you can make a market for it. I'll end here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much, sir, for that fantastic presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite our next speaker, Mr. Hari Nair, founder and chief executive officer of HolidayIQ.com. Ladies and gentlemen, HolidayIQ.com is now India's most popular holiday planning website. It is also India's first and largest holiday information portal powered by India's first and biggest travel community. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have Mr. Hari Naik. Can we have a big round of applause for him? And now, may I continue his introduction? Now, let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Hari Nair, founder and chief executive officer of HolidayIQ.com, for his presentation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for those really kind words. I woke up after a heavy lunch. Thanks a lot for that. Holiday IQ is, as was introduced, India's first travel community. Started at a time when the idea of both travel and community, I think, was alien to India. We are an 8-year-old brand, and I'll take you through the journey of what this has been and why we believe that some of the lessons we learned are interesting for the discussion today, which is really around how tourism is going to adapt itself to the next sort of wave of change. I won't spend time on it because I think there's been tremendous introduction already. So the only point I want to make is that I left this consulting career, got into this largely because I was very interested personally in travel, but also because I believe that actually tourism in India, one of 3 or 4 markets in the world. Yeah. Is it too loud or? Was it too loud? Yeah. Yeah. Just one of maybe 3 or 4 markets in the world which can give you massive scale in an individual venture that you can do inside it. Coming from a world in which one did work on fairly large things, the interest was certainly to create a business that had scale, significant scale. So I thought both could potentially happen. Certainly indulge in my personal passion in travel, but equally build something of scale and consequence, which in my view hadn't really happened in tourism in India till then. Tourism had remained a fairly cottage industry type thing for quite a long while in India. Just to summarize what the journey has been and where we've reached so far. Today, Holiday IQ is a brand which 12 million Indians use on a monthly basis. 1.2 crore people use. Between our websites and our app, people from across 800 towns and cities of India actually use Holiday IQ on a monthly basis. We are the second largest travel brand in India by traffic, Make My Trip being the largest, substantially larger than us. We help them plan every month to an equivalent value of about 250 crores of trip value in a month, and that's the kind of scale that we believe gets very exciting because we are in the Indian marketplace. All of the content, we are a content play. All of the content that we have on Holiday IQ is actually generated by Indian travelers. We don't write, we don't create anything. We have a platform. Everything is created by travelers, people who travel, and only Indian travelers. There are no, the classic Western tourist in our worldview at all. What's probably most interesting to me personally about the journey so far has been the first point, the whole thing around employees. We are a small company. We are 150 people, almost entirely based out of Bangalore. Our agenda is to actually become an 8-fold sized company by number of travelers that we reach in the next 2 years. And the idea is to reduce the number of people in our company from 150 to 100 while doing that. And that's our sense of scale that we are actually going after. The interesting thing about the 150 people we have is probably that this represents the best bank of brains in the country today on tourism. We've basically recruited blue chip completely. It's only IIMs, it's only IITs, it's from NIFT, it's from NID. It's from every top TV channel, for example, in India. The idea really is to say, is it possible to create a venture in tourism in India where the best brains actually want to participate? Actually, today, tourism is not a sexy place for, if you're in business school. I happened to actually be in IIM Calicut a few weeks ago, and we were talking about entrepreneurship, and there were so many people talking there. I happened to be the only person on tourism, and out of a batch of maybe, 300-400 people, I think there are not more than 30 people who showed interest in tourism, and maybe only 10 people who would consider participating in that. So from a disruption and the way forward for tourism, in my view, if you cannot get the best talent in the country to participate, you have no game. You have no game of substance or scale. You have small stuff, in my opinion, not meaningful stuff. If this industry has got to become a large industry for India and it's got to stand up and be counted, then I think we've got to figure out a way to get the best, absolute best in India to join us. To some extent, in a small way, I think Holiday IQ has been working at it. We've succeeded to some extent. We are funded by the top VCs, of course, across the world. Tiger Global, of course, been sort of setting the world of consumer internet in India on fire. Axel Partners, the guys who funded Facebook. And recently, we got funding from Make My Trip. So this is kind of validates for us the idea that a business can be in tourism, take a sharp position within tourism, not the broad travel space, and actually get the attention of the biggest investors in the globe to come and participate in that in India. Gives us a strong sense that therefore the path looks possible. Disruption looks possible. Disruption seems interesting to a whole bunch of really large players out there. So that's really where we've reached, because we've won a bunch of awards and so on. I won't get into that. But I think I want to touch upon some of the challenges that we face, some of the questions that we had to sort of traverse through. And I think the reason I want to get into that is because I think for almost everybody who's looking to get into tourism, entrepreneurship at scale, I think these are some of the questions that will come. Some of it is a little specific to the Holiday IQ context, but some of it I think is more broader. It is how I think tourism businesses will be measured in any substantial scale in India. The first question that we had to actually answer was, are we in the tourism business or are we in the broader travel business? In India today, there is actually a lot of interest in investing in the broader travel space. There is a hell of a lot less interest in investing in the tourism space. So when we came in, we said we would be in tourism and not travel. And it took a lot of sort of effort to translate that sort of stubborn vision into something that's meaningful in business sense. And I think when one looks at tourism businesses of the future, I think we will have to answer the question that does it have legs to stand on its own at scale and be a large national venture. If it doesn't have that, it can still be a very interesting little business, but it's not going to be serious stuff. The other question that we've had to do is, are we going after the traditional market that India has in tourism? Or are we creating a new market? So I say that the traditional Indian tourism market are 65 plus old white folk. I think that's a kind of, pardon the pun, but a dead or a dying market. And I think there is a much larger, real, aggressive, big market sitting next to all of us, right? Other Indians. We have 1.2 billion people in this country, 300 million people middle class, 65% of the population below 35, 900 million people who own mobile phones that are going to become smartphones in the next 2 to 5 years. If that is not the market we are going after and we're chasing after 70-year-olds in Europe, I'm not sure we are on to something really big. So we decided to go after the Indian market and we decided to go after it fairly aggressively. We decided to be a content business and not be a transaction business. Any of you who've had anything to do with consumer internet, I guess you would know that transaction businesses is where the activity is. We kind of went a little bit against the grain, said we would go content. And once again, these are all challenges that you face, and I think you traverse that in a particular manner. Might not be relevant for other businesses, but certainly for us, the industry normality was transactions, and we took a contrary position to go the content way. I already mentioned the notion of scale. We've always wanted to be a business of scale. We don't want to be a nice little small business. We want to be a bloody big business. And so we said we would go after huge scale, and we would do that with extreme sort of frugality on capital. And I believe that tourism is actually one of those games where you can actually create mega scale with actually frugal use of capital. Just context, Holiday IQ has raised $30 million so far, a little above that. Every one of the travel players in India of any consequence and size has raised multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think we've been able to achieve scale with far better, efficient capital usage than a whole lot of other businesses in the broader travel space. So in a sense, these were some of the questions that we faced, and this is how we kind of thought about it. The couple of other things that we did, which I think are, in retrospect, turned out to be good for us. We said that while we focus on the Indian traveler, we would focus on the below 35. So we actually have a very obsessive focus on youth. And its implications of focusing on the youth are multiple in terms of the way you think about product. You think about very youthful propositions, you think about strongly experiential propositions, you think about social nature of propositions, etc., and you try and cover one or two of those. So we got into a very youth space within India. And what we did was, because we had the kind of talent that we had, because we had that, we were able to actually bring the right kind of talent to think about the problem of saying that, what is it that you can do to benchmark with the world's best and actually bring that to bear, for the business that you're trying to do. So the answer, as Mr. Dominic mentioned before, is innovate or perish. And we've clearly understood that innovate or perish is pretty much the reality that we have. I won't take a lot of time over it. I've just been told that I've run out of time. So just to give you a sense of two innovations that we did. One innovation, squarely in the space of Indian travelers and youth, was to actually create, for the first time in the world, a proposition where digital content is used for creating travel inspiration. And I won't get into a lot of detail as to why it's unique and different in India, in the world. It's just that it's not been done before for multiple reasons. We were able to find a model by benchmarking ourselves to new age media companies in the West, particularly BuzzFeed and similar guys like that. This particular section on Holiday IQ, which is a blog, went from nothing to 6 million visits per month in a span of 6 months. That, I believe, is the potential of this country, that you can actually go from nothing to mega numbers in a very short period of time. That was one. The next was where we got a lot of travelers to meet together. Travelers in India are now moving to the next level of aspiration, where they're saying that, it's interesting that I get a lot of research to do. It's interesting that I get to go to good places. Can I meet other travelers like me? It's something that we stumbled upon. And how does an online brand do that? We actually created structured and curated events that actually do that. Again, I think the purpose of explaining this or sort of touching upon this is to give you a sense of the possibilities that are inherent if one tries to go beyond the obvious. So in a sense, these are just some vignettes of the community events that we do across India. To summarize, as far as we are concerned, the world's fourth or the fifth largest tourism market is sitting next to us. We are unlikely to want to let that go. Big scale, we believe, is now possible in tourism. We believe that the way to do that is to actually focus on youthfulness, and for those youthful markets, focus on experiences completely and obsessively, and most importantly, end by understanding that the purpose of leisure travel has now changed from some kind of a sense of self-actualization to just creating your lifestyle identity on social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all of them have become the singular reason of leisure travel. If we don't address that, we miss fundamental stuff. So we think that these are all things that are driving tourism today, certainly in India, and in India, the 4th or the 5th largest tourism market in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harinaya, founder and chief executive officer of holidayiq.com. Ladies and gentlemen, now at a round of applause, let's welcome our next speaker, Ms. Thangam Joseph, owner of Odds and Ends. Let's welcome Ms. Thangam Joseph on stage. Now, may I give you a brief introduction about Ms. Thangam Joseph. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Thangam Joseph started Odds and Ends as a unique gift or a bookshop in 1988. She is a mathematics graduate who went on to study cost accountancy. Later, she set up this shop because of her passion for meeting people and to work with arts and crafts and artists. She has worked closely with Crafts Council of Kerala and Parampari Karigar. Thangam used to write articles for Inside, Outside and Design Today. Odds and Ends have a branch in Taj Malabar as well. Odds and Ends have diversified into events, furnishings and fixtures and interior accessories. Thangam is in the process of setting up a cooperative society for skilled craftsmen to reinvent Kerala crafts. Another plan is to start an art center where artists can express their thoughts and talents. Now, may I invite Ms. Thangam Joseph for her presentation. Thank you.
I think half of what I had planned to say has already been said. So now I'll have to really reinvent what I have to say. Anyway, thank you for that. I saw a WhatsApp message recently. I've changed it a bit. If you wake up without dreams, then go back to sleep. That, in a nutshell, is my whole theory on life. It's such an honor to be part of such a distinguished panel of speakers who have thought so differently and, really thought out of the box and made extraordinary success of what they have set out to do. I'm really proud to be here. Thank you. Actually, I'm a gypsy of sorts. Like she said, I'm a mathematician. I studied that, then I did cost accountancy. But I was always interested in arts and crafts. I loved interacting with artists. And so I made it a point wherever I studied, like I would meet up with them, paint, artists who would paint. I'd spend time with them, go for plays and music and all that. And I always knew when I started my career that I could never sit behind a desk and for the rest of my life and do a regular job like that. So in that context, I thought about what I should do, and that is how I started this unique concept of gift shop come books. I started it in the name Odds and Ends. A lot of people ask me why that name. And I said I didn't want to get, pulled down because of a name. I wanted that opportunity to grow. So that name shouldn't, kind of hold me down. So that is how I chose Odds and Ends. Sometimes I get letters saying this and that. I don't know why some people just say odds, meaning the letters come marked to us like that, but it does reach us. So obviously the name has, made some sort of a mark. I started that in 1988. In 1989, I had the opportunity to start bookshop and gift shop in Taj Malabar. Actually, that opened my eyes to the world of tourism, really, because I was never exposed to that. And it was quite an eye-opener. And my I had to read up a lot about Kerala when I used to visit that shop very often. And to address the questions, because most of the tourists who came at that point of time were very well read and they knew about Kerala. So if I had to answer something, I needed to know something more about my own state. So I would read up, and that got me interested in being a tourism guide. And that was a totally unstructured area in those days. And I used to find if you take somebody to Jewtown, like they will be saying, showing you all the wrong places. They won't know anything about the synagogue or its history or anything like that. So I felt it was a need to have good guides. So I went to the tourism department. I, said you should have some sort of check on who gets to be a guide. Anyway, it was a very, very pleasant experience for me because I've taken, very illustrious people as a guide to, some of my favorite places in Kerala, like the Israeli ambassador to India, the head of Unilever, the head of Godrej, lot of people, the person who did the interiors for Rashtrapati Bhavan. So it has been a very, very illuminating experience, and if I have the time, that's one of the areas I always wanted to go back to. But unfortunately, because of all the pressure I put on the tourism department, they made a rule. There is a test, of course, but they put an age limit. So I'm out of that, and so I don't think I'll get a chance to do that unless I do it, privately without them, knowing I'm doing something like that. Anyway, from this experience, in 27 years, I've traveled the length and breadth of India, met with a lot of craftspeople. I understand, meaning their worries, their anxieties. I've seen people grow from nothing to creating absolutely beautiful things. And we used to pick and choose things to bring to Kerala. And for them, Kerala at that time was, a place which did not even exist. Like South ended with, Madras. It was not called Chennai in those days. So they were worried whether I would pay them money. So it was a lot of coaxing and cajoling to get them to send me some things. But that is how I started my shop. But I kept changing, as and when I found that things I needed to move on, I would, come with different things. So over the 27 years, I have built up a customer base of something like supplier base of more than 900 suppliers. So after all that, I felt that, Kerala is one of those, very few states which does not have any, craft really to its name, which is of international standard. Like this is an area where there are excellent craftspeople. I was part of the Crafts Council from inception, so I've gone to every part of Kerala to study the crafts, traditional crafts of Kerala. But no, like a carpenter or a bell metal worker, they don't want their children to be in that field. They are either engineers or doctors, or they've gone to the Gulf. So it's a dying, business in Kerala. So we took it upon ourselves we have to reinvent. We cannot sell, there is a limit to the number of elephants you can sell or a number of urilis you can sell to a foreigner, because most of the things are not necessary for them and they don't want to carry it back. So we have to figure out some way of bringing in a different kind of, using the skills that we have to develop our own crafts. So in that context, we've formed a small cooperative society of about 40 skilled craftspeople. And we've taken the coconut tree as a model to start off with. And we make, I would call it international level products with the coconut shell and the coconut trunk. So we got a big order from Germany for coconut shell lamps, and that was a big boost to the craftsmen. So we are now thinking of developing new packaging, and then we'll be out there in the market. But we do already supply a lot of resorts on order. So that is one area that I wanted to concentrate on. So in the shop, I used to write for Inside Outside and Design Today and all that. We used to cover beautiful homes. So I used to be in touch with a lot of architects and interior people. So through them, on their instigation actually, I have converted my shop into a furnishing and interior facility shop. Because I don't have to be there all the time. I can move on with my dreams. And the shop, I have an excellent staff who've been with me for 27 years, all of them. And I think more than me, they are the face of the shop and everybody loves them. So some of the customers don't even want to see me. So, it was a good thing and they handle that part of it. So I am free to dream. And then, at the same time, I had, when I started my shop, the President of India was visiting Malayalam Manorama, and they had a lot of cut flowers. They wanted it arranged at the venue. And I don't know why, but they called me and asked me if I can do it. I'd never held a scissor in my hand before. They had the confidence. Somehow we pulled it off. I don't know how. And that gave us a kickstart into this event of being a florist. And I found that some of my staff members were extremely talented. So again, they take care of most of the arrangement part of it. I only do the visualizing. So from there, we have now event management is a big thing now. So because of that, there are a lot of players, some do it well, some do a bad job of it. So I didn't want to get into this rat race. So I have consciously moved to destination weddings. And that's a passion for me. And it's a very small number, but the people who contact you, I've never advertised in my life ever. And it's by word of mouth. So they trust you, and in turn, you trust, meaning you do your best for them. So they contact you, like yesterday, I just came back from Trivandrum. This was the first destination wedding of this season. We are doing 5 more in this 1 month. And so they speak to you on Skype. Some of them, you see them only for the function. But it's very detailed. They go into such minor aspects, and you have to make it work for them because it's their dream for their special day. So there is no chance for an error in any way. Even if the weather fails, you have to have a plan B ready for them because it's that one day of their life. And they're spending all that money coming with all their friends too. That is a good possibility because we have beaches, we have rivers, we have hills, and we have water, we have mountains, we have it all. So it is a great possibility for anybody to go, this industry to grow. And unfortunately, I don't agree with Jose on that because I would like certainly some concessions on at least the wine and beer licenses, the sound timings. Not that, none of them drink too much and they will wind up by 11 o'clock. But those are basic necessities like, that they ask when they come when they plan a wedding here. Another area we have done a lot of work is for advertisements. We do the sets for some of the big multinational companies. They used to come here. But again, water is one of their favorite things that, and the greenery, that is why they come here. But unfortunately at 5 o'clock, you have to pack up because the fishing nets will be out. So, that's a lot of money because they have to stay here for 2-3 days more after that to finish because an ad takes a long time. And, in that way, I would like to request the government to help us with a few concessions here and there because it's a really growing industry and it's a hot spot for these kind of businesses. Now, I don't know if there is time, there's no time for my video because my story is actually my work. And I brought a presentation, but anyway, maybe at the end of the session or something, I'll show it. I live a beautiful life, meaning in the sense I do beautiful things with beautiful people. I live in beautiful, environments because I'm always around fancy hotels and the beaches and these things, meaning all lovely places on this earth. And I'm also, if I'm not doing that, I'm furnishing beautiful homes. So altogether, this is a very beautiful setup. And I have a lovely family, so, there's nothing to complain for. And my only advice is that people think whenever I speak to a mentoring, like I do that for some of the colleges where there is MBA courses going on, like they think it is a fun-filled job. It is fun. It is my passion. And I wait each morning to get to work because every day of my life, because that is the most passionate thing for me. And I would encourage people to get into it, but it also means a lot of hard work and determination. So it's not all cozy, but it's beautiful. So I hope everybody will think big, dream big, and best of luck with all your dreams and hopes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thangam Joseph, owner of Odds and Ends. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your wonderful experiences with us. Thank you. Now let's invite our next distinguished speaker. Please put your hands together to welcome Reverend Father Johnson Varapilli, CMI, Executive Director of Rajagiri Hospital. Welcome, Father. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce him? Reverend Father Johnson Varapilli, CMI, together with his Executive Council team, heads Rajagiri Hospital. Father Johnson is also the Secretary of Rajagiri Healthcare and Education Trust from its very inception in 2011. This trust is the umbrella organization under which more than a dozen projects are in pipeline, and the hospital is first of its kind. He has also done commendable services as the Secretary for Education from 2005 to 8, Secretary of Finance from 2008 to 11 of Sacred Heart Province, Rajagiri, Kalamashedi. Now let's invite Reverend Father Johnson Varapilli, CMI, for his presentation.
I should stop at 3:40 and I'll be on time. Okay. Andy Jackson is an Australian poet. In last April, a publication on poetry came up titled Immune Systems. This is a writing on Indian medical tourism. The whole picture depicted in the work is Apollo Hospital, Chennai. And in between, we come to know that in olden days, the people from different parts of from different underdeveloped countries went to the developed world for getting better treatment. Today things have changed. From developed world, people come to underdeveloped world for cheaper treatment. This would be the sum and substance of Indian medical tourism. India is known for spice tourism from time immemorial. Thousands of years back, people came to our land in search of spice, in search of Indian textiles, in search of muslin, in search of precious stones. So from time immemorial, India is and Kerala is more open to tourism. That's why, in India, we have certain communities named after Syria, Syrian Christian community. It all refers to, what we had the connection with the Middle East than with, North India. Medical tourism can be in two ways, one preventive and two curative. In preventive, it can be otherwise called wellness tourism, Ayurveda, naturopathy, and other indigenous systems. And here we have established enough on that. Curative is the next portion, that is the medical value travel, where we have cosmetic, dental, complex procedures. And among the complex procedures, we have transplants, replacements, minimal invasive, high-end medical management. I have to show this way? Okay. Then medical value travel, critical factors. First is the clinical outcome. What is going to be the effectiveness of our treatment? Then quality of service, infrastructure, wellness experience for a patient, and treatment cost. That too counts quite a lot. The most important medical value travel corridors right now, Mexico, Costa Rica, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, and finally India. Mexico, look at that, the major source, US and Canada. Look at the JCI hospitals, means Joint Commission International Hospital, where you have the international quality. They have 9 hospitals. Costa Rica, 2 JCI accredited hospitals, major source, US, European Union, and Canada. Thailand, a country near to us, lot of people fly over India to reach Thailand, especially from Middle East. Look at they have 45 JCI accredited hospital, and their major source, Japan, US, and GCC. Then Malaysia, their source is Indonesia and GCC. In Singapore, it is said that in Singapore, the yield per patient is the topmost compared to any other countries. Taiwan, major source is China. Then coming to India. In India, we have 25 JCI accredited hospitals, and in 2014, 350,000 travelers visited our country, for medical treatment. Savings in US dollars, it is 80% less than what they have to spend, elsewhere. Key strengths, tertiary care, major source, GCC, Africa, and South Asia. Key drivers for medical tourism, non-communicable and lifestyle-related diseases, rapidly aging population, then prohibitive cost, lack of availability. That means, if you are treating in UK or any Western world, you'll have to wait for months and months, so waiting area, lower insurance penetration, availability of globally accredited institutions. These are the key drivers for medical tourism in general. Market size of Indian medical tourism, in 2015, it is $3 billion, and by 2020, the expected projection is $8 million US. Look at the arrival by region. South Asia, the major source, and then West Asia, then Africa, then we have Western Europe and the other countries. Cost competitiveness, that's another major attraction. When you look at the table, you'll find that India is damn cheap compared to any of the other competitive medical tourism providers. It is compared, India, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Mexico, Costa Rica, South Korea. You'll find, the larger number under India, whether it is hip replacement, knee replacement, spinal fusion, heart valve replacement, gastric, any of the item. India is a much, much cheaper country. The availability of nationally accredited institutions. Look at that in India, in Kerala, we have 23 accredited hospitals, and out of which 2 are JCA accredited. One is Aster, that is in the hospital category, and the other hospital is Ahalya, not in the hospital category, but in as a clinic. Then all the others, NABH accredited. Here we need to remember that a state like Gujarat has lot of government hospitals got accredited by the national board. Existing corridors that Kerala can, easily tap. GCC, from GCC to various, Indian states, the possibility or the opportunity is high. To leverage on the direct connectivity, then expat population. You look at the GCC world, the presence of, Keralites, Kerala, or our Malayalis, it's huge. Then Africa to South India. That is again moderate to high, where we need to showcase clinical excellence at par with competition. Potential corridors for Kerala, Western countries to various Indian states. Here the wellness has created a great image in the Western world. The Europeans, the Americans, or from any other part of the world, the number of people come here for wellness is much, much positive. South Asian countries to various Indian states, there also we need to improve promotion, then direct connectivity. Here, for example, from a patient to reach Kerala from Afghanistan, it is much more expensive than from a Gulf region to come to, Kerala. So that, we need to establish direct connectivity. The Kerala advantage, a small state, but we have 3 international airports, our nature, monsoon, wellness brand. Then coming to talent, look at our physicians and surgeons, the way they perform. Our physicians, our surgeons have keen listeners in different parts of the globe. Our doctors, our medical experts are invited to different world forums to listen their expertise and their technology. Look at the clinical output, kidney, liver, heart transplants, knee, hip, shoulder replacements, bariatric and other cosmetic surgeries, complex neuro, gastrointestinal surgeries, catheterization, coiling and stenting. In technology, see, when in world some technology in the medical field is introduced, a simultaneous presence is felt in our small Kerala. Whether it is radio imaging, whether it is in the field of catheterization, whether it is any of the high-end medical technology, our state is at par with any of the developed world. Look at our operation theater. Look at our ICU levels, 3 and 4. It's very common. It has become very common in Kerala hospitals. Looking at the infrastructure, if you look at the newly came up hospitals, or the new additions to the already existing hospitals, or the new towers in a hospital, it's all world class. You would feel like you are in a Mayo Clinic or you are in a John Hopkins. It's comparable to any world standard. This is some of the statistics from Kerala cities. I'm just omitting that. The KST 2015, that was a conference held recently, a week back, where we plan to have a much more image building on a team approach. We launched an e-portal where the hospitals, Kerala hospitals, can come together, and anyone in any parts of the globe can get to know the information about our facilities. Then we also in the process of forming a Kerala Medical Travel Society, and we also plan for road shows in the potential regions. Our critics say that, why so much love for the rich? How that's going to affect? This criticism is also leveled against medical tourism in Kerala. And our answer, I quote the Andy Jackson, the same author. He said they implant a pacemaker in her brain. We all know that pacemaker is meant for heart. So the poet, he thinks of having it in the brain. So there will be some shake-up. Then towards the end, no longer does he spend 10 hours a day washing off imagery gems. Thoughts go back to Shakespeare and Lady Macbeth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Johnson Varpalli, CMI. That was indeed a highly informative and enlightening presentation. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's invite our next speaker. Please put your hands together to invite Mr. Kaushik Koditodiga, founder and managing director, Jellyfish Water Sports. May I introduce our speaker? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kaushik, he's originally from Ferro Kozhikode, based in Dubai since 1996. He has over 20 years of experience of selling enterprise technology platforms to banking, finance, investment, and capital management domains. Currently working with Advent Software, a subsidiary of SS&C Technologies, as a regional sales director. Kaushik is actively involved in promoting eco-friendly water sports and recreational usage of waters in Kerala, and is closely associated with schools, individuals, events and organizations promoting activities such as kayaking, canoeing, stand-up paddling, rowing and sailing in India and abroad. In January 2015, Mr. Kaushik took part in a 13-day 350-kilometer kayak expedition from Kollam to Kozhikode, spreading awareness on water pollution and exploration with 9 other friends he met online. In 2013, Mr. Kaushik set up Jellyfish Water Sports in Kozhikode, and recently in 2015 September, he organized a 70-kilometer 2-day Chalia River expedition involving experts and newcomers in association with the District Tourism Promotion Council and the Municipality Chairman of Nilambur and Malappuram. Now let's invite Mr. Kaushik, founder and managing director of Jellyfish Water Sports, for his presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sure it doesn't mean much when I say it's an honor to be here. But for me, it's really an honor because what was just a simple idea and my passion has turned into a business. And it's such a business that I'm in front of this forum and be able to talk in front of successful people. And so while I'm here in the next 14 and a half minutes, I will give you a story about jellyfish. But before I start the story, can I ask a question? How many of you know what a kayak is? So that's great. Not many know. So that gives me an opportunity to talk about it. But for those who knows kayaking, well, you'll be delighted that kayaking is not just about kayaking. So that's really my project today. If this works like this. So the story is starting with that picture. That's me and my lovely wife, Ruby, and my kids, Ria and Ryan. So in Dubai, we are known as Malbaris. I don't know how many of you know that, but the Arabs call us Malbaris for a very good reason. They've been coming to the Malabar, especially Calicut and Baipur, for centuries. So we're all Malbaris there. But why did a Malbari bring jellyfish to Calicut? And I am from Calicut, so that's why Calicut. Why Malbari brought the jellyfish. And the story starts from this picture where I bought this inflatable kayak in a shop in Dubai about 13 years ago. And I fell in love with it, but I had to sell the idea to my wife first, because that's another love I have. And she fell in, and I bought this, and every holiday I started packing this inflatable kayak to Calicut, and I started using it in the river. And that's my river, that's Chalia River. And we then found out that not many people know that the river is also ours. It's government's river, or it's river owned by the fishermen, or it's owned by sand mafia, especially those days, maybe even now. So we started kayaking, and a lot of friends ask us, what are you guys doing? Well, I'm in the water. A lot of jokes about me, eppurum vellathilanu, which is a joke, but that's true. And that's how I started. I said, if I can kayak, anybody can kayak. It's not about adventure tourism. It's not foreigners' sport. It's common people. A traveling salesman like me can kayak. Why can't you? That's how we started Jellyfish. So to talk about jellyfish, sorry, there's a technical glitch here. I start with 3 persona. These are people I think Jellyfish inspired. So first one is a Jet Airways pilot, Captain Siddharth, who's a very good friend now. He's approved this slide. And he comes to Calicut very often. Every other week, he gets a layover flight to Calicut. And he hates it because there's nothing to do in Calicut. He gets his stay in Kadava Resort, which is right in front of the river, and there's nothing to do. And then he came to know about jellyfish through the F&B guy from Kadava, who's a friend of mine. And then he landed at the Jellyfish Club, and now he learned kayaking. Not only that he learned kayaking, he learned the ultimate sport of kayaking, which is whitewater kayaking, which requires a lot of training and a lot of willpower. And then he took part in the Malabar River Festival, which is a race, and he got the second place for the beginners. And now he looks forward to his trip to Calicut, and he often doesn't get it. My second persona is Najib. He used to be a sand miner, and all he does is sand mining. He makes about 3,000 rupees a day, which is a lot of money. But he knew the negative branding that it has and the criminal effect, because most sand miners are illegal. And he wanted to quit that, but he couldn't, just like the movie stories. And I met him right in front of my house. That picture is actually taken right in front of my house when he used to park his boat in front of my house. And today, he is a certified trainer. He's been certified by National Institute of Water Sports. He got a motorboat driver license, and he's my senior lifeguard. So he made a living out of jellyfish. And a third persona, which I learned that she used to work for Rajagri, but this is a super mom. She used to ride a motorbike. She used to go in Calicut streets with her son, and her son, part of an after-school academy that jellyfish is associated, was supposed to come to as a field trip. The son is 4-year-old. The mother is a non-swimmer. She was scared, so she decided to come to the school, to jellyfish, to check out what it is. And when we were giving classes to the kids, she was interrupting and she was asking a lot of questions. So I took her, I said, well, I need to talk to you. And then I made her wear the life jacket, and she said, I don't know how to swim. I convinced her to sit on the kayak, and now she enjoys kayaking with her son and another kid into what we call Tree of Life, which is a big tree near our club where we give it for beginners and small kids, just to be safe. These are the 3 stories that I have about what jellyfish is doing. It's not about money, it's not about success or the large scale. I'm not saying I don't want to grow, but this is how we started. Now talking about Calicut, that's my personal interest. You can actually remove Calicut and put any other city in Kerala or India. This is probably the scene, except for Goa and those kind of markets. But I want to go to the B or the C towns. So Calicut, not very popular for a lot of things like food. I'm a foodie myself. But the tourists, offbeat tourists, people who land up in Calicut, thanks to Emirates and the foreign airlines, which is selling the destination, a lot of people end up there. But there's nothing to do there. And they end up going to Wayanad or Cochin or wherever else. So that's the part where we are bringing, there's nothing to do. So if you see that picture, that's the most popular restaurant in Calicut. We brought a kayak to that restaurant. This is another popular destination, Mananjara Square. So we brought a kayak to that destination. And in this particular day's theme, so that's the way I disrupted the mundane life in Calicut, where people were hanging around there, and I thought about bringing them into the river. Very ordinary scene. I know Roshan is here from Calicut, so this is the normal scene. People just sit, nobody is touching the water, and people get cold feet when it comes to water, and especially the latest generation. So thinking about launching a water sport, and that too recreational and not professional, that takes a lot of guts. So I've been fortunate to have a supporting family and a job where I'm measured only by performance and not by the time. So I'm able to do this, and I have the money from my job. And that's why I did that. Now, all of us want to do good things for our community. So when we grow, I'm 43 years old, we want to give back something. And I use my passion on the same sort of thing. So kayaking, what is kayaking to do with the social cause? Well, why not? That's the state of our rivers. And if you go to the first pictures taken in between Chetua and Ponnani. And the second picture is actually in Calicut, Mambura, the Canoli Canal. This canal was once active when fueling the spices trade and the timber trade. Now it's completely blocked, and this is what you get. And it stinks. It's really, really reeking. So we got onto this project. He said, how do we get common people? Now, Chalia River, personally, I call it my river for a number of reasons. So my dad is from the beginning of the river, and my mom is in the end. So Nilambur to Farokh, that's where the river is. So it's my river, many ways. So this year in September, we got 20 people, out of which 7 absolutely new kayakers. They've never seen a kayak like some of you like here. We managed to convince them to kayak 70 kilometers in 2 days and camp in an island in Calicut. Nobody knows about camping in Calicut. And we did that. I have a small video, if it works. Hopefully it works. Oh, sorry, I pressed. Sorry. It's a 30-second video. I'm sorry. You need to see the video somehow. Okay. Thank you. Now it's working again. No, I have a few more slides. Sorry about that. Okay, so I know I have 2 more minutes. So what is Jellyfish? I'll make it very quick. So we are a club where you can come and learn kayaking, canoeing, stand-up paddling, and if I make a little more money, rowing and sailing end of the year. And we also think it's a place where you can come and learn basics like boulder climbing, very good for kids below 5 years. And we have a basic lockers, toilets. These are basics that we need for camping. Mostly that's a discomfort for a lot of people to get into camping. So we've got that sorted out. And it's a simple things. How many of us likes fishing? All of us. But where are you going to go and fish? So we will assist you. Very simple, very basic, local chundal. It's not the Chinese-made high-tech stuff, but you are guaranteed of getting at least 1 or 2 karmin. And it's an outdoor event, so we did a lot of events. I have some pictures. Now I'm a little conscious, I need to move fast, so I'm talking a little fast. But also, if you want to buy stuff, Cochin has a decathlon. We've got a mini decathlon in our store, just basic stuff. So when you come there, if you want to buy your own PFDs, your own water shoes, your own, we have that. Simple as that. And if you want to buy a kayak, that as well. So I think this is very important for all of you here. A lot of people who don't know kayaking, these are the people who comes there. Some of them are very highly educated. So first question, do I need a approval to get into the river? So no, it's your river. You can do whatever you want, just like you don't need an approval to ride a bicycle. And is your kayak registered? I mean, we are very bureaucratic. We need to know everything in paper. Why? There is no engine. So we have to explain about why you need registration and what doesn't require registration. Just because, automotives need registration, not everything need registration. And then a lot of people are very confident, so I'm a swimmer, I don't need a life jacket. And we have been turning people away. Well, if you can't wear a life jacket, please. So those are things that we do, but some of the interesting ones. My son would laugh if people ask, where is the engine in your kayak? And a lot of people who's been in the Middle East, they've seen water sports, jet skis. Why don't you get jet skis? And no alcohol. Well, we don't serve alcohol because water sports and alcohol doesn't go together. And a lot of people, a lot of events have been turned away because we do not allow it. So I like your idea of maybe I should add Ayurveda to it. So I've already picked up some idea on how to get more clients. and maybe a wedding for, kayaking wedding. And so I've picked up some ideas, and maybe a ambulance, water-based ambulance. So I'm picking up ideas from here. That's great. Now, this is the most important point. So a lot of people, when they think about kayaking, canoeing, and these are even, unfortunately, even the most relevant government official who could be the director of adventure tourism or whatever authority is relevant, port officer, has asked me if you have a fire extinguisher in your kayak. But that's what everybody thinks kayaking is. Actually, that's whitewater rafting. It is very, very good fun. We have two colleagues who is an expert whitewater rafters. In fact, my team, Anne Jenkins, she's won the first prize last year in Ganga Kayak Festival. It's great fun, but you need to be extremely secure. You need to wear the right gears. There's no room for a mistake. But I'm making it simple for those who don't know kayaking. So we all know about automobiles. So simple kayak, this is the most easiest one. Recreational kayak, flat water, our waters, that's like a Maruti 800. Anybody can buy it. It's not very expensive. You just need to learn basic driving. Go ahead. Then comes the touring kayak. This can be used in the sea and needs a little bit of training, but it's a bit like a 4x4. You need training, you can drive it. It's a little bit more expensive. If you don't handle it well, it can topple. Then comes the whitewater kayaking. This is I compare it to the motor sport world. So that's like a racing Formula One. You cannot use it everywhere. You need the track, you need the training, you need to practice. It is not easy to even use it. So that's as simple, and this message is for anyone who thinks about the questions in their mind or as an official. So that's usually what we do, some pictures. These are real pictures, and that's our clubhouse. We have kids. We take the Farouk tile factories as one of our product. We take people into that 150-year-old tile factory. And news, regular news and social media. So there's some big stuff. Kayaking is not only about a guy going and kayaking. So people are going from Germany to Australia in a kayak. Sandy Robson, my favorite and my hero. And Freya recently did the South American trip, 7,000. And then if anybody wants to do the biggest thing in kayaking, it's the Danube River Tour. It's 8 countries, 60 days. It's something that I'm thinking of personally, but that's the kind of height you can do. And recently we got, the picture is from New York, where there was a Guinness record for the maximum number of kayaks gathered. I'm trying to beat it in Chaliar eventually. So one more thought in terms of this forum, what is the business opportunity? Okay, I have my job, so I don't need to make money out of jellyfish. But that's not quite true. Actually, a little bit of research has gone into it. If your kids are taking risky activities, then they tend to become more creative. There are research shows that. And with a lot of supervision and playground safety, kids are not taking risk. And risk takers, especially entrepreneurs here, you need to take risk, and we need to start from very basic. And then there's another reality. India has this kind of coastline. We are not using it for this kind of area. Sailing clubs, after Goa, the next one is in Kochi. There's at least 700 kilometers in between. So I've listed business opportunities. In the interest of time, I'm skipping them, but these are all that we have. There is a room for every entrepreneur to get in any way. And if you've got nothing to do, you can just collect garbage and help. Turn that into a recycling business. That's also possible. And one last wisdom, and we all believe in wisdom. So somebody asked, this is a stolen wisdom from Richard Branson. So how do you become a millionaire? So he said, get $1 billion and start an airline, and then you become a millionaire. So I would say the same for water sports business in Kerala. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your wonderful thoughts and the experiences with us. Very passionate about the brand that he built with his partner Muhammad Salim. He also acts as a director in Percept Printing Solutions Private Limited and have proven expertise in the field of color management, productivity measurement, and analysis and hospital management software. Harris has recently undergone a course on CRM, Customer Relationship Management, at IIM Lucknow and has also conducted many training workshops. He believes very strongly that India's growth will be complete only with upgrading the quality of those at the bottom of the pyramid, and training will be a powerful tool to achieve upgrades in productivity to enhance earning capacity and create opportunities for all. He believes even tourism is a product that needs to be exquisite in packaging and experience. Mr. Harris has also created a space called Launchpad to help startups to showcase or to test the waters. Also for the young or the creative trying to launch or further their dreams. Also used for conducting a workshop or for training. Now let's invite Mr. Harris Abdullah for the presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Name's Harris. My dear friends, I hope there are a few friends left when I'm finished speaking. I'd like to talk about sustainable growth by optimizing existing resources. I'm going to go on a read-through because I think time is of essence. I'm going to try and make it as fast as possible. Parveen called me 20 times yesterday, will you finish in 10 minutes? So I had to change my plans. So I'm trying to do that. So how do you optimize existing resources? How do you make a business? How do you create value? What is Kerala? Kerala is such a beautiful place. You don't need to add anything to it. I think it's a place that's got everything going for it. Now, I'd like to talk about our business, the Fruit Shop on Dreams Road. We started our first store in 1995. We have branches in Chennai, Dubai, and Cochin. We're looking to expand within India and out, basic raw material from existing resources. We have, what we've done is we've taken, just like Kerala, we've not done anything special. We've taken ordinary raw material. It's going too fast. Okay. And we've converted that into an exotic thing. Now, after all these things, we've added one of the most valuable ingredients, which is warmth, easily and universally available, but becoming very scarce these days. And I think, that's something that everybody needs, be you in a hospital, be you at work, be you at home. I think that's something we really, all of us badly need. Now, I'd like to talk about tourism. What does tourism mean? It is a concept where you go to a place, you experience the culture, the hospitality, what's good to see there, and the food, obviously. Most of us talk about international tourists, but what about the domestic? I think India is a country, as somebody mentioned, with such a phenomenal population. I think rather than looking outside, we need to look within and see how we can make the best use of that resource, which is our people. If a company can be packaged, trained and organized to deliver, why can't a state be packaged to offer tourism as a product? What did the Fruit Shop on Dreams Road do? I don't think we reinvented the wheel. We didn't do anything special. All we did was we utilized the basic raw material available in the market, which was fruits. Everybody had it. We actually, maybe to a certain extent, copy-pasted. If I go and say, Nyandan juice it is, I did not condubitify juice. I think it was something that is already existing. All we did is we made it a little different. Where everybody just made ordinary, regular juices, we created combinations. We made some exotic products. And we came out with, close to 120 types of juices. We also came out with advertising, which was smart and, as you see, topical. This is about road safety. It talks about respecting the red, yellow, green pedestrians. And in Chennai, a lot of young kids, they footboard travel on buses, and a lot of them die. I think in India, we have every 3 minutes somebody dies. And I think it's about time we, rather than focus only on the fruit shop, we felt it's also important to talk about other things. How much can I talk about my juice? So we came out with some creative advertising. These are a few of ads. This is one ad we did recently for Spencer Plaza. It is 10 years old, so 350 days and going fresh. There's an ad which I really love. this is an ad that got Harvard Business School down to Chennai to do a study on the fruit shop on Greaves Road. It is a concept that I created, wherein I thought car parking is a huge issue all across the country. So I innovated. I came out with something wherein a customer could pre-order his juices, come, settle in, and pick up his juices, including his change, his bill, everything went in a flash. So what would normally take, you take 4 turnarounds in 10 minutes. We managed it up to 50 cars could be turned around. So this is a NGO that helps kids from slums to look at a new vocation. We supported them because in India, I think today India has dropped 4 more spaces in football, 170. Whereas these young kids have gone and managed to bring it to 30th place or 34th place, which is a huge achievement. Otherwise, they'll go end up in crime and stuff like that. So we felt it's important to also be, creating value around society. I don't think I need to explain. We all need a lot of love. I think we all need it badly. And I think I don't need to explain, baby, you're a hot chico. So this is about, I realized the Coke and Pepsi guys were actually hyping the fact that they didn't have any fresh juices in it, as though that was a major achievement. And we realized if we've got something exotic and we're not hyping it. So we went the other way around and we said, drink fresh juice instead. And this Kolaveri is a song which became very popular. And we also strongly claim no artificial flavors added, which is a take on Coke and Pepsi. As I mentioned, we were a subject of a study by Harvard Business School. Ford conducted a survey in Chennai and found out 2 of the most popular locations in Chennai. Fruit shop happened to be one of them. I was surprised because the other one was an amusement park, which obviously could be. And the third thing is an organization called Albert Daly Naming Consultants, who did, who wanted to do a survey to find out if long brand names survived. They did a survey of 1,000 companies across the country, and Fruit Shop was considered the 8th longest brand name in India. That's when I realized we were a brand. So, but I think one of the most important things for me as a business person is somebody who's done something for passion. As a lot of people here mentioned, we initially didn't even know we were making profits, but we loved what we're doing. But we did well, because I think from a 200 square feet store, today we've got 15 stores. I think we've created at least 5 or 10 properties from that little tiny store. So I presume we made some profits. So I think the most important thing is that people, the ones we love the most, have really loved us in return. Now, I would say, why, if a company can be created, why can a state not become like a company? If all the people in the state start believing that, I love my state, and if we can, now you're talking about 12% or 13% revenue from tourism. If you convert that, flip it the other way and say 60% revenue from tourism, and every stakeholder from all parts of the pyramid starts getting better value for himself, I think everybody would love to create value. Because at the end of the day, there is a certain amount of personal interest. And if you can make people understand and convert Kerala into a beautiful destination and, go beyond just saying God's own country, what would God's own country mean? I don't know, I stole it from my son's Kerala chapter last night, suddenly, when I realized the 10-minute story. So, named as 10 paradises of the world, growing at 13.31%. That's a huge amount of value for the economy. In 15 years, 50 lakhs to 100 lakhs domestic, and that is 100% increase. Foreign tourists, 1.8 to 7. That's 450% increase. I think we should look at making maybe 100 lakh foreign tourists, and maybe why not bring all the people from the country to visit Kerala at least once in their lifetime. What do? We don't do anything much. The existing ingredients are already there. Nature has created such a beautiful thing for Kerala. You go to Dubai, you toss a mango, a seed out, you'll never find the seed again. In Kerala, somebody throws a stone or a seed at somebody, the next day you'll find it growing and left 5 huge trees sitting around. So we don't need to do anything. Just treat it with more pride, more respect, give value to your environment. We also need to advertise to our own people to say this is really God's own country. Because our people need to internalize that this is God's own country. Paradise, what do you mean by the word paradise? Paradise is a place that is exotic in flora, fauna, where food is brilliant, and everything that you would ever imagine to be exotic. So encourage a culture of warmth and hospitality among all residents. Treat everybody with respect, consideration for others. Respect our resources too. build a view of tourism, the state's enhanced business opportunity. Everybody has to believe this will make a big difference to my life. You know, everything else can stay. Factories, hospitals, everything can be beautiful and brilliant. Everything has to be worked around, like in Venice, when you go, every product that they sell, anywhere that they sell, has branded Venice on it. Why can't India, Kerala do that? Kerala can really convert itself to, if you get 60% from tourism, all the other industries will come around. Everyone dreams, everyone aspires. We need to plug in. Create pride, ownership, and enhanced self-respect for the state. Maybe as part of a campaign, let's call it Nammude Kerala, Nammude Viruna. I'm not talking about being arrogant. We are the best in the world. We are better than everybody. No, we don't need that. Yep, got it. We don't need, I think she finally beat me to it. And she called me dignified. This is the first time in my life. So, where every single individual establishment and organization understands and exhibits the ethos of Aditi Devo Bhava. I think it's so beautiful as a word, and I think we need to internalize it. Every single little house, imagine if you could take people to creating a unique tourist spot. I think you can all read that. A chanda, make an evening bazaar, local food, local arts, artifacts, experience local culture, visit to a spice factory, where everybody sits together. There's a master chef there who's from the local cuisine teaching everybody how to cook. And at the end of it, imagine everybody sits around and has a huge, big meal, 100, 200 people sitting around, and the meal that you all created together with somebody. You got to think differently. That's about it. A thought to leave you with and a video. Parveen, please let me run this video. Harmony makes small things grow. A lack of it makes great things decay. I hope that I can run the video if it's possible. Will it run? Yeah. A small word to wind up. I think the last one is about, So last word to wind up. I think we all need to be selfless, get our state back to being the beautiful Kerala that it once was. We don't need to do anything different. Just give a lot of warmth, treat everybody who comes here a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And this particular video was from Launchpad, which I had given to 2 young people to use. They were absolutely particular. They want to do something for me because I in some way supported, and they did it for me completely free. There was an idea that I had, they just converted into a video. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haris Abdullah, for that fantastic presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope most of you know Mr. Haris is the brother of Parveen ma'am, our moderator. And I just forgot to mention in the beginning. Thank you very much, sir, once again. Please put your hands together for Miss Ranjini Menon from Wayanad Coffee Country, as well as a very famous TV anchor, writer, and social activist. Please put your hands together for her. May I quickly give a brief introduction about Miss Ranjini Menon. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, she is a famous TV anchor, writer, and social activist, as well as an entrepreneur. Born to the noted motivational speaker and veteran trainer M.A.S. Menon and Katyayani Menon, Ranjini did her graduation in economics from the UC College, Alua. She was ranked second in All India Central University's entrance examination and got admitted in Pondicherry Central University for MS in developmental economics. Later on, she did MA in psychology from Annamalai University. She also possessed 2 bachelor's degrees in English and social science. Ranjini began her creative journey as a poet and columnist in noted women's magazines. Her foray into television happened with Agathalam, the first ever women talk show on Asianet. This program created a platform to deal with issues of women and became a social movement over a period of 5 years. In 2003, Ranjini Menon was instrumental in relaunching Jeevan TV and was in charge of program design, PR and R&D for 2 years. Some of her other high-profile TV shows were Snehita on Surya TV, Pen Manasa and Shubharatri Music Show on Jeevan TV, etc. She has interviewed several celebrities including union ministers, actors and religious leaders. She is also the first woman to direct Mohanlal in a program, Susneha Mohanlal, on 25 years of his tenure in cinema. She spent 2 years serving as the Chief Executive Officer of JT Pack Kochi and designed shows involving Shabana Azmi, Amjad Ali Khan, late U. Srinivas, etc. Ranjini was a jury member for South Indian Film Fare Awards. She is also currently the executive member of the Kerala State Children's Film Society and National Vice President of Indo-Russian Culture Relations. Despite of her busy schedule, Ranjini Menon also ventured into organic farming, sustainable agricultural practices, and responsible tourism. She ran an organic coffee plantation retreat called Wayanad Coffee Country, which was adjudged as the second best homestay in India by Outlook Travel magazine in 2014. Now she is a special invitee of district administration and various other governmental and non-governmental organizations of Wayanad for giving her expertise in the field of tourism, sustainable farming and responsible tourism initiative. She is a part of a movement called Green Vein, which is instrumental in planting 1 billion trees across India. Now, with a round of applause, let's welcome Ms. Ranjini Menon for her presentation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Most beautiful Parveen, the chair, and my dear old friend, my childhood friend, Reverend Father Johnson. Don't think that he is very old, he's very young, because I'm also young, because we were college mates in UC College. And young and energetic entrepreneurs, Kaushik and Harris, and the tourism icons, Mr. Hari Nair, and he's not here, Jose Dominic sir, and the convener of the meeting, Mr. Anand Mani, and the august people assembled here to listen to us. I have the advantage of being the last speaker of this session. So I hope I can take at least 1-2 minutes I'll be getting more. Anyway, she's not giving permission. Anyway, one thing I noticed when all the speakers came on dais and spoke to you, I found, of course, all were motivating, excellent speakers. But one thing I noticed, I was just sharing with Ms. Thankam, that when we ladies speak, it is from our heart, not from our brains. Am I sure? Yes, I'm sure I will not get clapped for that. Only few ladies are present. Anyway, okay, me being a media person for the past 18 years, I always have an instinct of asking questions on every subject. But when I became an entrepreneur in one particular industry, tourism industry, I started getting questions from the public. Then only I realized that it's a very tough job. Anyway, after this address or after this session, definitely there will be a question answer session. So make it a point that you ask more questions to this gentleman, not to we ladies. I'm taking that bail before. So I'm not wasting my time because it's very, very short. Why a media person like me quit that job, not certainly quit, still doing, at least in a small terms, I'm doing something on television and print media. Or why I have shifted my focus from media to tourism industry. So I thought a lot on that and finally arrived at a conclusion that it is just because of my passion and of course being a person who is into environmental protection activities, realizing the food shortage, of the need, it is the need of the hour, we all know. So realizing all those factors, and also I realized that other than media work, what else I know? I know cooking, I love meeting people, I wanted to be with my husband and children. So these are the factors which made me decide to start a homestay in a place, Wayanad. So whatever I know and whatever passion I got, I decided to start up this. And here I listened to all the speakers who were speaking in a macro level, in a giant level. What a mind-blowing addresses those were, especially the Hari Nair. കുറച്ച് കൂടുതൽ ഞാൻ ഹരിയെ പറയും കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ദാറ്റ് വേ ഇനി എനിക്ക് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഗസ്റ്റുകളെയൊക്കെ ഹരി തന്നാലോ. Okay, so and also I was so thrilled to listen to Kaushik because a person like this is very close by Wayanad. In Calicut, he is doing such a thing. So this kind of conclave, this kind of programs help us to do networking. People like me sitting in Wayanad and running a homestay and organic farming stuff. Of course, we do get people from different parts of the world. Last year, I got people from more than 22 countries. So definitely, these kind of programs will help us to work together, and it's a very, very motive of such program. So I'm going to speak in a micro level. What all things I'm doing at my home? We all do things. Your wives or sisters, your daughters, definitely they'll be running the home. And all the household things, with the help of some people, they'll be making it. But those things, usually you men, because I am always for women, that's why I'm telling like this. How do we run our home? And how beautifully we can do that? How beautifully we do that, and also how to bring in people to that beautiful setup. This is the thing what we do in homestays, I'm sure. So out of introspection, I decided to set up an organic farm. Because I love nature, I wanted to work for nature. So when I go to schools, children ask me, I was a teacher once upon a time. So when I go to schools for motivational addresses and all, children started asking, ma'am, are you doing something physically? I mean, other than speaking, what do you do? So then I started thinking, I should practice what I preach. Then I decided, this hectic life should end up with all these things, and I'll shift to a place where I can do something related to nature. So I was living in the bustling city of Cochin, and I was living in the 8th floor. So not much to do from the 8th floor. Decided to move to Wayanad, and also wanted to do something differently. All the other speakers were telling about that, doing things differently. Not only differently, I felt that something should be unique. Whatever you do, it should be unique. Then only people will notice you, then only people will like it, then only people will come to you. And only those people will succeed. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you on behalf of 3.5 crore Malayali citizens and as a representative of tourism entrepreneur in this idyllic state of Kerala. And I'm quoting our beloved Shashi Tharoor that he has said, Kerala's ethos is a reflection of the Malayalis' miracle. I hope you all will agree on that. We have practiced openness and tolerance from time immemorial. Religions and ethnic diversity has always a part of our daily life. And we, Kerala, has shaped a character with the help of checkered history and enriched ourselves through influences of many cultures, faiths, and people. So these things I need not explain much. And we have assimilated and imbibed all diversity and goodness of mankind all over the world. Now it is time to think, plan, and implement something new out of this, or what we have acquired, and in a very distinctive, different form. In tourism, like any place or destination in the world, we showcase our picturesque backwaters, pristine beaches, verdant plantations, and that. But other than this, what else we could give for the tourists? What else we can give? We Indians say that Aditi Devo Bhava, because Hadis was mentioning that Sanskrit verse or statement. For us, our guests are equivalent to God. So, to God, what will we offer? Whatever we offer to God, it should be the maximum. ഏറ്റവും മനോഹരമായത് ഏറ്റവും നല്ലതാണ് നമ്മൾ കൊടുക്കേണ്ടത്. So, if you are catering to a tourist, definitely the best we should give from our hands. And here I start my topic, exploring new vistas, the need of the hour. I don't know whether all these things, what I'm going to tell you, is already there, but whatever I felt, I thought I will share with you. See, being a descendant of erstwhile ruler of Calicut, Zamarin, my ancestor is instrumental in receiving Vasco da Gama to India, and the rest is history, you all know. So at a point of time, I thought, being a person from this family, it is me. എനിക്കാണ് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നമ്മളുടെ ഗസ്റ്റുകളെ റിസീവ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒത്തൻറ്റിസിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതലുള്ള അതിനുള്ള എന്തായാലും ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ വാട്ട് ദ വേർഡ് ഐ ഷുഡ് യൂസ് ഫോർ ദാറ്റ് അത് ഏറ്റവും അർഹത. സോ കീപ്പിംഗ് ദിസ് ഇൻ മൈൻഡ് I decided to start up my homestay called Wayanad Coffee County. And these are some of the slides about enchanting Kerala. We have the diversity in flavors. We have the diversity in some glitch. We have the ethnic diversity. I need not explain this. And we Malayalis possess the openness and tolerance to all cultures, all faiths. And we are all empowered also. I need not explain that aspect also, because we all know that the state of Kerala is empowered in many ways. So with all this setting, I thought, why can't we do something? Why can't I do something? And my story, I need not tell you, and the MC has already explained everything in detail. Thank you very much for your good words. And was being a person in the media for such a long stint, when I decided to quit, and then decided to, when I said I'm moving from Cochin to Wayanad, most of my friends started asking me, what the hell are you going to do there? Wayanad is not a very, very popular destination when compared to Munnar or Kovalam or any other part of Kerala as a tourism destination. But when I reached Wayanad, when I traveled length and breadth of Wayanad, I realized there is potential. And see, I need not explain on this. So we have this variety, ethnicity, nature, wildlife, village life, everything in Wayanad. So I thought of making use of that. And coming back to my home, Wayanad Coffee County, and the address says it, NH212 Chundale. And, sorry. This was my home before, oh God. Yeah, this was my home, and when I decided to shift to that place, I renovated that house. It's a 95 years old British bungalow, and I actually brought this property as my holiday home and also for doing some cultivation agriculture practices. But when I decided to venture into tourism industry, I decided to renovate this old house. And this is the new look of Wayanad Coffee County, where I stay and where I receive our guests. So this we did, and a little bit of organic farming, and also participation of the locals inside the property, and also started doing something for the public also, because I cannot remain seclusive inside the house without doing anything or without meeting people. So I decided to do that. People started coming into our property, and of course, we had people like this, celebrated guests. And last year, I could host, yes, still she gave that. So we could host around 20 people from 22 countries in our property. I'm just skipping. And we are into experiential tourism, because Thankam was speaking about the Kerala being the wedding destination. Also, Kerala tourism is promoting this kind of activities in most of the properties. And even Kerala tourism has got a responsible tourism initiative programs in many parts of the state. And here are some of the okay. And these are some of the programs which we carry out: Clean, Healthy, and Green Wayanad, flash mobs, taking our guests to these kind of places, cooperating with art initiatives of Kerala tourism. When I decided to give a presentation here, I spoke to the state level coordinator of RT Kerala, Responsible Tourism Initiative, Mr. Rupesh. And in his absence, I tell you, you should give a big round of applause to that person. He is the person who is instrumental in bringing out these kind of activities throughout the state. And the best initiative is seen in Kumaragam, and the second one in Wayanad. We have many more NGOs working in this. And last year, we got the award for the second best homestay from Outlook Traveler. And the first year, the occupancy was around 10%. Then it became 18 to 20%. And this year, the third year, I expect 50% occupancy. And we do these kind of activities called Theme Coconut. With the pictures itself, you will understand what we do. Yeah, theme jackfruit, yeah. I'm winding up, Parveen. And programs like dinner theater. Dinner theater and performances, promoting the properties. And I suggest these are some of these things, like promoting the properties to have leisure activities for guests inside the property, at least for a day. And theme-based activities, dinner theater, plantation tour. And this is one point I want to put up across the government or the tourism department. We can do these kind of things for the tourism entrepreneurs. I'm telling, reenacting the historical events of Kerala with the help of experts, artists, organized by government agencies, tourism organizations, etc. People participation into tourism without hindering the daily routine of the people and the group. Like we can take our guests to school, nearby school youth festivals, Kudumbasri programs. We need not have high-end programs in our property. It is quite possible for every promoter. And also promoting our indigenous products to various destinations other than souvenirs. So what we see in most of these tourist destinations, we see many souvenir shops. And what do we get from there? It is mostly the things which are coming from outside Kerala or may not be from the local community. Educating the direct participant tourism is also very, very important. Sometimes we come across civil police officer blabbering at the tourists when they ask for a route or when they ask for some advice. When they ask the police officers, sometimes they find it very difficult to communicate, even the taxi drivers. So it is a need of the hour. Definitely the tourism organizations and conclaves like this should think about this, and jointly we can organize such programs, and also promoting the local culture, art and traditions through annual charting and making a calendar of events. I heard that a calendar of events is already made by the tourism department, but it is not functioning properly. Still, we have to work on that. And here I end my presentation with a constraint of time. I also have got a beautiful video to present before you. With the constraint of time, I think I cannot do that. But anyway, thank you for patient listening. Being the last speaker of this session, I think I got 1 more minute. Thank you, Parveen, for that. So remind this, for a homestay owner, we believe that every day is an opportunity. Every step from your home is a beginning of a new journey, and every smile is a beginning of a new relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranjini Menon, for that beautiful presentation. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, Parveen ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finished with the presentation by all our 7 speakers, but we have one more video presentation. We are completely out of our time schedule because we are supposed to finish by 4:15, but it's already 4:37. But still, let's listen to that video presentation by great Indian.
I would just want to say something which has been there from the start of the program. Harris is my brother. And I can remember at the age when I was 8, Harris was a disruptive entrepreneur then also. We were staying right opposite a military hospital, and there was this store where we could get chocolates. And with my mother's money, he used to buy chocolates, and he used to sell it to all of us. We are 7 siblings. So I think disruption started then. So we have very, very short time. So if there are any questions in the audience, we can go ahead with it. Are there any questions in the audience? From the audience, yes, please.
I think this is one point missed in all presentations.
Your name, sir?
My name is Sumesh Mangalasheri.
Yes.
I work with an organization called Kabani at the Direction. We are basically a research organization doing research on sustainable tourism in India and abroad. So my question is basically, my organization, we do promote community tourism in 9 villages in Kerala. And our experience with homestays actually, whenever we go for licensing, I'm talking about policy here. This is something we missed, I think, in the presentations. So I can see 100 laws. Like for example, if you go to Alapi in a panchayat for a license, there is a different, law. Like taxation is different, the rules for getting license is different. And when you go to Wayanad, it's again different. And when you start a homestay, next day the electricity person will come and they will put you into commercial tariff or whatever. policy is different, but still. So what is your experience, in terms of dealing this policy and policy makers?
Question is to?
I think we are all small entrepreneurs, except maybe one or two people, maybe Ranjini or,
I'll talk to you in the context of fresh fruit juices. We've been in the business for 20 years now. I think one valuable lesson I've learned is the best place to learn is from your business than any international school of business. And in a country like India, I think everybody teaches you. The policeman, the electrician, the plumber, everybody teaches you how to innovate and survive. So the end of the day, it's the Indian spirit. It is not brilliant governments or whatever that makes this country great. It is people of this country, from the poor person who lives in a small hut to the person at the highest level who's doing various things, who actually innovates, not just in how the way he manages his business, in also the way he manages how to solve all these issues. I think unless it becomes an ethos that everybody understands that this is what makes a state great, I think we'll have to learn to deal with it day to day. This is my personal opinion. We faced all kinds of issues, but we've always managed to surmount them.
I think I can share a small experience. When I started this homestay almost 3 years back, although I bought this property 9 years back, it was just a holiday home for us. So when we decided to take the licenses from different departments, especially from Panchayat, from the police department, to a certain extent, from Panchayat and police, it was almost easy, not that easy, but I could manage to get within no time. But when it came to the DTPC, the governmental body, we applied for the classification, because in homestays we also have the classification like 5-star or down the categories. And we applied, and the DTPC people came to my home and inspected. There were a group of 10 or 12 people coming for inspection, and they put forth all the norms. These are the things should be there within this much time, and we tried to fulfill all those expectations also. And when we applied for the classification, we remitted the money. We took a DD of 3,000 rupees, and to tell you, friends, it took almost 2.5 years time to get the license classification from DTPC. Thank God that it so happened the tourism director, Mr. Sheikh Pareed IAS, and Anupama, the lady who is the news all these days, food safety commissioner, very efficient lady. Because of Anupama IAS and tourism director Sheikh Pareed sir, I lodged a complaint, and I told them directly, this is the thing happening here, and lot of problems to undergo. And finally, with their help and with the tourism information officer, Mr. Prashant, who is in Trivandrum, somehow we got the license. And when we got into the issue, we realized that actually there were 8 applicants to DTPC, in the DTPC, and out of the 8 applicants, 2 were not qualified enough to get the license from DTPC. So because of the 2 people, 2 properties, all these 8 licenses were kept like that for 2.5 years. And finally we got the license, and the DTPC people said that this property can get only a silver classification, which is the ordinary. But finally, when all the other members who were in the inspecting committee, when they saw the marks, it was more than 75. And finally, the government awarded us the diamond category classification. To get the diamond classification, it took long, 2.5 years time. And ours is the one and only diamond category homestay in the whole district of Wayanad. So this is a story.
So I found a slightly shortcut for answering your question. So 5 years ago, I went to DTPC. I said, I have this project. It involves kayaking, tents, and he came up with 10 possible departments that I should go, but he doesn't know. So what I did is I went ahead and started that. And then I started finding out. Now I have another shortcut. If any of you are volunteering, I can actually do that. So what I've noticed is if you have one accident, every Tom, Dick and Harry on the street knows all the rules. So if any of you are volunteering, I can make an accident, then I will know all the departments that I should go. But that's a state. So when you violate, then everybody knows. The newspaper media will tell you. The collector will tell you where all I should have gone. The DTPC will tell you 10 other departments. So lack of information, that's really the answer to your question. It is there. We have every rule possible, but it's not transparent.
No single window system, right?
Absolutely. But if you make an accident, everything in the newspaper. So that's really what I'm looking for, but not at my client's cost. If any of you are volunteering. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kaviraj. I work with IBS Software in Technopark. Just one question mostly about like why is it that we don't have about the market potential? Like, is it like that the scalability of many of these ventures, apart from what Hari was talking about, like some of the other things, is the scalability actually a little limited because most of them are location oriented, which also in a way builds in some entry barriers because those who have access to those, key locations or key properties or any of that really have it all. Like, so the only way is then share steal or like displace those people. So that is one reason why, any new players are not able to come in that one. And second, because you're not able to kind of scale it up beyond a point, like, you're not able to get efficiency gains and like, those kind of things in place. So does it really put a limit on the growth potential of the market in tourism?
Yeah, whom would you like the question to be addressed to?
I'm okay with it.
Mr. Hari, would you want to take it?
So I think scale is an issue in tourism in general, globally, everywhere, right? In India, there's a charm to small in tourism, right? Inherently, there is a charm to small. The problem with the charm to small is that is exactly what you said, that you can't drive a whole lot of business side stuff that's needed to make it a paying thing for people over a period of time. So there is that challenge. My own read of it is that the inherent problem with lack of scale is lack of ability to market. So I think that's the underlying problem with lack of scale. Does certain other things like location make it, something that you can hold on to and, and not let other people get in? My own read of tourism, as an outsider looking in, and in the last decade, is that actually tourism opportunities are actually not at all dependent on physical assets, in my opinion. Actually, I think you can create enormous opportunities in tourism with practically no physical asset. And the best example of that is Kaushik here, right? So he's got a river. He doesn't own the river. He's got a couple of kayaks. He's probably got more now. But really, what is the physicality there? Very little. What is really adding value is the idea, is the innovation around it, the thought around it, the extremely high quality of presentation that he did in terms of its visual appeal, etc., is really, to me, where that value sits. Can that scale? Of course. I can see jellyfish becoming a 100 destination business. Why not? Why it can just go all over the place? I mean, like jellyfish, actually. Yeah. So you know what? My view is that scale as a limitation is something that we tend to impose on ourselves by thinking limited. And I think, this, I just wanted to, I'll just take 30 seconds extra. A few weeks ago, I was in IIM Calicut, and that's actually how the context of being here happened. And one of the girls who's in the first year of the batch, she actually asked me a question which actually triggered a lot of my thinking. She said, I am from Kerala, and it's a batch of, 300-400 people, and not that many people from Kerala, maybe 10% of the class. And she said, I'm from Kerala, and I'm really interested in creating a tourism business of scale, large tourism business. And she said, I went and talked to somebody. She mentioned somebody's name, I'm not familiar, but I think somebody who's fairly relevant in tourism in Kerala. And she said, that person told me that, the tourism is over in Kerala. And don't even waste your time trying to create anything big in tourism. In any case, tourism is about homestays and things like that. I do honestly believe that tourism as an industry has a problem of not being seen as scale. Completely wrong in my opinion. I think enormous things can be built, of great value can be built. I don't believe it requires capital, and I don't think it has got any, I think, barriers are in the mind, in the innovation that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Hari. And due to severe restraint of time, I think this will be the last question. And I would like to ask Ms. Thangam, where do you see tourism in Kerala in the next 10 years? Do you envision extensive growth in tourism?
I certainly do, because we have everything here. It's one of the small changes, actually, when I was speaking, I forgot to mention that. One thing is social awareness. Like, we need to believe that we can do it. And every single one of us can do that. Like, I mentioned that I have never learned, my subjects were totally different. But I went into events, I'm doing flowers, I've never done flowers before. But, like, I had the opportunity to do, like I was saying, the legendary Paul McCartney. He came down to Kumarakam to propose to his fiancée. And I had the opportunity to do that, do up that houseboat. And I would have, meaning gladly hidden under the cot, because I thought he might just start singing or something like that. So, so it is possible for anybody. Like, it is not, there is no need to be, so qualified about it, because I think in a certain way you're restrained,
I think it's the idea which is the most important.
Yeah, it is the idea and your passion to see it through. So I think there is tremendous scope. I would encourage everybody to get in some model into it, like whatever they feel is ideal for them.
Very true, Thankam. I happened to meet a few months back Ms. Shama Pawar, who is instrumental in bringing the village called Anigundi in Karnataka near Hampi destination. It was just a quiet village, and that village has transformed into a hotspot for tourists from many countries and also of domestic tourists. So I would love to tell you that without people participation, the local participation, hereafter, from now onwards, from today onwards, you cannot achieve anything from tourism, because even for the word tourism, 10 years or 15 years back, that there was a, like people used to tell, oh, that is something about luxury. Those people who can afford to travel, they travel. Nothing to do with the local people, nothing to do with the ordinary people. But that is a wrong thing, wrong notion. Now things have changed with the responsible tourism initiatives of the state governments and also of the NGOs. We could do a lot in this industry. That's the clear way. That should be the way we should go, I think, from this time onwards. That is with the local participation. There in Anigundi village, I heard from her that even putting a column in front of the house is also a part of tourism activity. So when people come from outside India and also from North India, when they see this beautiful column in front of floral design or whatever in front of your house, they just love it. They just come to see those simple things. And making a calendar of events in your vicinity, in your locality, like church festival, simple thing. And also school youth festival or whatever, simple things. People are coming, flocking in to see these kind of simple things. You need not have a big property having all the luxuries everywhere. It is also possible. So we should think in these terms also. I'm just supplementing to Thangam what she said.
Thank you. I think we'll be winding up the Q&A. We have a summing up session by Mr. Anandamani in 2 minutes. Before that, I would like to thank all the speakers for your excellent sessions. I truly believe that each one of you should have been given at least half an hour. Maybe for the next TICON, we'll handle it in that way. Thanks once again. And I now invite Mr. Anandamani to do the summing up. Thank you.
Chairperson Madam Parveen, respected speakers on the dais, and fellow members of the dais. It was supposed to be for 2 hours. We are beyond 2.5 hours. At the outset, thanks a lot to each one of you for being along with us, and that itself is a testimony to say that this session is a very successful session. Me and Parveen was fearing at what time Kwarasa would come here and hold us. But thanks a lot to each one of you. We had a good array of speakers. Mr. Jose Dominic gave a high quality speech which gave us a very fresh perspective into our thoughts and beliefs by his valuable advice regarding tourism and by his statement that find market for the products and not products for the market. That's worth noting for each and every one of us. He's a person known for working with integrity and succeeded with integrity and has proved that in the tourism industry. Tourism industry sees him as a transformational leader in tourism with a great power of foresight. Or in just simple terms, I would like to say he has got the amazing ability to see what is the next opportunity. Coming down to Mr. Hari Naya, I met him from IIM Calicut for a program called Stratosphere. I was quite impressed regarding the speech he delivered out over there. We met there for the first time. Just on that day, based on my invitation, he has agreed to come up for this session. And he has advised us to be up to date with the new technology and ensure hands-on experience for successful entrepreneurship in tourism industry. He also says that there is scope to do things differently. Thanks a lot for your valuable and worthy points. Madam Thangam Joseph, she sticks to her own beliefs and relies on her own conscience. She intends on creating a change in the craft industry. Always when we were sitting to the meeting, I find that was her baby. Always she used to talk regarding craft. And I hope the change is happening as she is expecting. And I hope it will happen more faster. Maybe the results may be slow based on the Kerala scenario. But I hope you will get a lot accomplished and you will be rewarded for your efforts. She is known very well in the tourism industry in such a way that when I was having a word with the ex-CEO of Taj Ginger Hotels a few days ago, who was obviously one of my speakers for the last Icon, the moment I was mentioning regarding the speakers and when I mentioned Thangam Joseph, she was immediately recognized by him. So madam, make your mark well in promoting Kerala as a wedding tourism destination and hope you will find many more takers in the tourism industry for your business concept. Father Johnson, who heads the hospital called Rajagiri, which is committed to excellence and innovation, sorry he had to leave because of his assignment with Manorama. His key driver words on promoting Kerala as a medical tourism destination and opportunities is worth noting and to be studied and explored. I thank him for his informative speech. My friend Kaushik has got a simple idea with water. He's counting on the impossibilities in water and exploring the possibilities in water. We all fear to go near a river under the fear that we'll slip and fall in. He's counting on the possibilities in it. Kaushik, you have put in your effort of achieving a certain result and you did what you have to do and you made it happen. I hope you would explore more possibilities. Have the confidence to carry yourself more forward, which is very important in today's world. Mr. Harris Abdullah started from the very bottom, slowly, rose slowly, understanding all parts of the business. As he said, no need to study in IIM or any other institutions. Go, policemen, all other persons will teach you. That's coming from the mouth of an entrepreneur. We should think whether we should all study again or send our kids to IIMs also. So, once he was convinced regarding what he was doing, I hope he didn't talk much about that thing. He just went ahead and did it. Harris, you have set high standards and has benchmarked the performance globally. Also, I note that according to you, scaling the business isn't just about expanding all over, but by knowing where to build a new one and how to minimize risk. I met Ranjini a few days ago only from a meet in KMA. She has a deep passion for tourism and forgot her attachment of hometown and surroundings, detached herself from the costly media field and consciously chose a path to find new opportunities places and fought with the new opportunities. She believed that life is all about balance and staying in great shape and living up to her full potential. Madam, you have set yourself apart by challenging conventions and the system in your own style. A young professional groups of 10 persons whom I met from Calicut with boundless enthusiasm shared their vision with us and provided visibility to the opportunities available. Let the entrepreneurs sense the positive moments in the key areas what they have mentioned. Friends, your travel was a unique distinction which you only deserve. Finally, again I wish to thank Mr. Jose Dominic, because a great deal of success of this session was because of Mr. Jose Dominic. Even though he being the charter member of the tourism track, he chose to step down from chairing this session and move aside, passing the mantle to Madam Parveen and me. He was a mentor for us in organizing this session, and we learned a lot from him by his advice, knowledge and perception. I thank him for giving us this opportunity to conduct the session and feel fortunate to be part of his team in Taikon. A special thanks to you, Madam Parveen, for chairing the session and conducting this session successfully. Wrapping up, I wish to say that the presence of each one of you, along with the speakers, has added weightage to the session, even though we are running much beyond the time. Each speaker deserves the loudest applause. These speakers hint that there is nothing called a problem for them, and they feel problem is just an absence of an idea to find a solution. Let us learn from this, from observing these remarkable speakers, and get motivated and shape our thoughts. The strategy of this session was to ensure that we all draw benefit from each other's strength and ensure better benefit for collaboration. Let us all give commitment to our strategy, have trust on our own plans, and build the team for it. Strategies that help to win so far may not be necessarily be what will help to win tomorrow, because the skills and capabilities with which we grew up till now are dramatically different from the skills of capabilities needed in the future. This is what I understand from the talks of Mr. Hari, Harris, Kaushik and all others sitting out over here. So let us all be ready for the fight. There is no issue will come in our way of pursuing interests. Hope we all have had a fantastic learning experience and the feelings are beyond expression. A major change in mindset might have happened or had been had for all of us, and let us refine and define our thought. Hope this session will bring new energy and dynamism to each one of us in our entrepreneurship journey. Thanks a lot to each one of you, the team, Ajida, Anup, Soumya and all others, and specifically once more to Madam Parveen and each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Before concluding, as a token of thankfulness and gratitude, may I request Ms. Parveen Hafiz to hand over mementos to our speakers, especially to Mr. Hari Nair, Founder and Chief Executive Officer, HolidayIQ.com. Thank you very much, sir. Now to Ms. Thangam Joseph, owner of Oats and Ends. To Mr. Kaushik, founder and managing director, Jellyfish Water Sports. To Mr. Harris Abdullah, partner, Fruit Shop on Graham's Road. Finally to Mrs. Ranjini Menon, Wayanad Coffee County. And now to Mr. Anandamani. Ma'am, please hand over memento to Mr. Anandamani. And finally, may I hand over memento to Parveen ma'am. you very much, ma'am. With that, we are concluding the session. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us.